Well, hey, welcome to this week's Monday message with me, John. So good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Nice cold day today. Reason for the woolly hat, but yeah, another lovely sunny day, and it's really good to spend this evening with you. This Monday message is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to be sharing a message as such as how we've done them before. I'm just going to share with you some scripture, a little bit of the thoughts, and a quote from a speech done a few years ago now. I hope you stick by to listen to that. For so many, well, you must know by now, the end of last week, a vote was done in Parliament to end the school meals that have been going on during the COVID lockdown and stuff like that for people that needed them. And it's come with a lot of anger for a lot of people. It's come with a lot of hurt for a lot, and a lot of anxiety and worry for a lot of families. For us, we've heard of so many cases where families are really struggling this year, and it's been tough. It's been tough for so many people to kind of move forward. And in my own mindset, I've been really struggling with where we stand with this and what we can do to help. And I was reminded of a Bible passage. It would be well known to a lot of people, about it's the parable of the Good Samaritan. And for so many that know this passage will know that this passage has become a well-known saying, that you say, "Oh, you're a good Samaritan," when you help someone. But I wanted to read it to you today, and it's in the Gospel of Luke, and it's found in chapter 10, and then it's verses 25 to 37, and it says this. Just then, a religion scholar stood up with a question to test Jesus. "Teacher, what do I need to do to get eternal life?" He answered, Jesus answered, "What's written in God's law? How do you interpret it?" The man replied, "That you love the Lord your God with all your passion and prayer and muscle and intelligence, and that you love your neighbour as well as you do yourself." And Jesus said, "Good answer. Do it and you'll live." Looking for a loophole, the scholar said, "And just how would you define neighbour?" So Jesus, being Jesus, loved answering in stories, and he tells a story here. There was once a man travelling from Jerusalem to Jericho. On the way, he was attacked by robbers. They took his clothes, beat him up, and went off, leaving him half dead. Luckily, a priest was on his way down the same road, but when he saw him, he angled across to the other side. Then a Levite religious man showed up. He also avoided the injured man. A Samaritan travelling the road came on him. When he saw the man's condition, his heart went out to him. He gave him first aid, disinfecting and bandaging his wounds. Then he lifted him onto his donkey, led him to an inn, and made him comfortable. In the morning, he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper, saying, "Take good care of him. If it costs any more, put it on my bill. I'll pay you on my way back." What do you think? Which of the 3 became a neighbour to the man attacked by robbers? The man who treated him kindly, the religion scholar responded. And Jesus said, "Go and do the same." Now, this story is really interesting because he shows different figures that in your own judgment would think, oh, they will help this person. Now, a Samaritan in those days was the Jewish people used to think that Samaritan people were almost second-class citizens. They were different people. They weren't allowed to be on the same spectrum. They were almost like look with their nose up at these people. Yet the priest walks past, ignores the guy on the side. Then another religious man walks past and just ignores the man. But the Samaritan, the man who people would have just despised at, was the one that helped this man. But it reminded me, this story, just of how wonderful Faversham is, how wonderful our town is. We see so much generosity. Us as a Salvation Army have been in awe of the wonderful help and assistance that you people of Faversham have given us since we've been here. Our community wardrobe has been supported in ways that we never thought was imaginable by just normal people. We've seen since the announcement last week of the vote against free school meals, the amount of local businesses, small businesses standing up and saying, I will do free school meals for you this week, for families that are doing it. We see the food bank, Faversham Food Bank, every week faithfully helping Wednesdays and Fridays, delivering food to those that can't get out, being a voice for people in times of need, but also just giving them the food they need to survive. But also we're seeing in Facebook groups like the sharing community and residential groups and school parenting groups, just the wonderful support and the love that people have for each other. We're seeing that people may be lying on the ground, like this man who was attacked in the Bible, but people are walking past and helping. Yes, there are some that don't agree, with what's going on and have something to say, but you're going to get that with everything. But it's so important to help those in need. And I'll come to the quote that I want to share with you now. In 1912, a few years ago now, over 100 years ago, the founder of the Salvation Army, you may know of him, William Booth, man with a cracking beard and a very raspy voice, gave a speech at the Royal Albert Hall to some 7,000 Salvation Army members called Salvationists. He would 3 months later, after this speech, die. He passed away 3 months later, but this became one of his most recognised and well-known speeches. And I'm going to read it to you because it's so fitting for this day and age as well, even though it's 100 years ago that he said this. And he said these words: "While women weep, as they do now, I'll fight. While little children go hungry, as they do now, I'll fight. While men go to prison, in and out, as they do now, I'll fight. While there is a drunkard left, while there is a poor lost girl upon the streets, while there remains one dark soul without the light of God, I'll fight. I'll fight to the very end." And this speech can be used in our society today, can't it? We're seeing women weep as they do now because they can't get the work they need to support their family, because they've lost their job because of the year that's been. We need to fight for them. There's little children going hungry this week. And not just this week. There's little children going hungry every week because food poverty is real. And while there are little children going hungry, as they do now, we must fight for them, be a voice for them, stand up for them. And while men and women go to prison, in and out, struggling with the grapple of addictions and past lives that they want to get out of, but they keep falling back into it, we must fight for them. Not condemn them, not judge them, but be there for them and help them. Fight for them. While there is an alcoholic left, someone who, again, is struggling with an addiction, or that there's a poor, rough sleeper upon our streets, down Preston Street, Stone Street, Tanner Street, you name it, your own street, there may be someone who's homeless, walking the streets at night, too afraid to close their eyes because of the the abuse they get by gangs and by people that somehow just don't have any respect for them in the situation they find them in. We need to fight for them. And while there remains one dark soul without the light of God, someone who journeys through their week not really sure about what's to come in the week after they've just lost their loved one to coronavirus or to cancer or dementia or other diseases that are around, or maybe they had an affair or their partner had an affair and their family's broken up and they just don't know where they are, and they don't know Jesus, they don't know the love of God, the light of God. Our fight to the very end. So this message is a call. We need to fight. Jesus shows us so oftenly in the Bible that we need to fight. And it's fighting for people without a voice. It's fighting for people that don't have any fight left. We need to fight for those within our society with no judgment, no anger, to the refugees that are trying to flee a war-stricken country to get here to fight. Get here to fight for their future, to fight for a living so they can support the little children. We must fight for them. For those veterans that have lost limbs and struggle with money because they can't get work after military service. We need to fight for them. For those families where, like they say, you're only 2 paychecks away from being homeless. Those families that we've spoken to at food banks where one of them has lost a job and there just isn't enough money. They can't pay their rent, they can't pay their council tax, they can't pay their water bill, electric bill, gas bill, as well as putting food on the table, and they have to make a choice between bills or feeding the kids. Let there be no judgment, but let us fight for them. Stand up for them. I'm going to read this speech out for you, and I'm going to put the words on this as well so you can read them, and it almost as like a declaration right now. If you believe it and you want to, join with us and fight for them. While women weep, as they do now. While women and men weep, as they do now. I'll fight. While little children go hungry, as they do now. I'll fight. While men and women go to prison in and out, as they do now. I'll fight. While there is a drunkard left, while there is a poor, lost girl upon our streets in Faversham, while there remains one dark soul without the light of God, I'll fight. I'll fight. We will fight to the very end. Thank you for tuning in. Try not to get emotional, but we need to fight. And I just hope this encourages you, wherever you find yourself right now, to join the fight in whatever way that is. If that's walking past rough sleeper in our town and just buying him a meal deal, or reading something on Facebook and getting lost in the fake news or the stuff we read that isn't true, and then end up judging someone because of that. Let us fight for them instead of judging. I hope this encourages us to remember those in our society that are in food poverty. People that have the same purpose of being here as you and me. Someone who probably doesn't even know it, but they are loved by God. They're created by God. They're not an accident, and they're not the scum of the earth that some people call people, but they are creations of God, wonderfully and fearfully made in the image of God, and we need to fight for them. And I hope this has encouraged you to do so. But thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a really lovely week. We're here. If you've tuned into this message and you're going to be struggling this week because of half term and having the kids home all week, please get in touch. Please reach out to us. The food bank's open Wednesday and Friday, 1:30 till 4 p.m. And the community wardrobe's open on Wednesday evening. But we're here to help in any way that we can. We've got some amazing small businesses that are wanting to support with small packed lunches during the week. The Little Diner has made up some packed lunches this week, which will be at the food bank on Wednesday. So if you need a packed lunch for your children, please reach out and we can get one to you. But my friends, you are loved, you are valued. We say it every week, but it's true. You're loved and valued. And I'll fight. Remember that. We will fight. God bless you. Have a good week.